Welcome to Dobricks, the podcast where we talk about everything Trinidad and Tobago, from culture, sports, politics, music, food, and everything in between. My name is Taurean Linton, and I am with my boy,
Cutter.
who got to the chopper.
The chopper.
And today, we are a little late. We apologize for that. Cutter is where is in this band? The guitarian.
Nah, just the man with the mouth.
The man with the mouth, the singer. You had a little show last night, and I know you was prepping for that, and that's why we so late. How the show was?
Real people, real vibes. Free chicken, jackpot chicken, big up jackpot chicken, right? Up
We
in
gain
the
any money
west.
for this though? We gain money from Jack. We gain any chicken from Jackpot Chicken?
Yeah. We could record something.
All right, I don't see.
Man, a cool guy.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah,
Well, as I was watching it, they looking kind of good in a dog.
you find so? I think I'll trim.
Yeah, good. Send a little picture now. Send a little nude picture now.
I'll nudes, you say.
Yeah. Send a little something.
Yeah.
We ain't good.
Think for
But-
the bone.
Dog.
Well, if I didn't guess already, that's not a real request from Taurean to me. Well, not a usual request, but we are touching on the topic today of nudes, and
Nudes.
in particular, the scenario that was in news recently in Trinidad and Tobago, where a compilation of several nude pictures of young Trinidadian females was circulated.
About 500, I believe.
Yeah, it was in UE, as I said. Well, according to Loop TT, the photos allegedly had been categorized and stored in folders labeled with the names of each girl. Among them are the names of entertainers, students, and young professionals. An online database has also been activated to host photos of the girls for persons to view and share. Now, this has been circulated online via mobile apps such as WhatsApp. There's talk that there's a flash drive that was being
Distributed.
sold in UE, distributed.
Oh, sold.
Sold, all this kind of different thing.
Wow.
The situation is one that caused a lot of different reactions from the public, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Taurean, you all heard about this in Canada.
Yes, of course. Of course. This was big news. Obviously, we get everything from social media. So when I first started seeing it, I obviously investigated and found out, just like I guess everybody else, that there were photos, and quite importantly, there were supposedly underaged
Right,
females in this group of photos
Yeah,
as well.
I think there has been a lot of confirmation that there are minors involved.
Really? Okay, so yeah, it was a shock to me. But I guess as Trinidadians, we like to follow everything that's going on. So I guess we had a leak nudes too.
So, well, did you see the photos, Taurean?
Boy, you mad? Oh? If I see the photos, no. I ain't looking for no lockup.
Yeah,
At
if
all.
your wife to beat you, like what?
That that too.
She come
But,
up behind you when you're on the computer, they hit you one hard slap.
One hard slap. But nah, that wasn't. I didn't see the photos. I know of individuals who I can't say for sure if they see, but I highly suspect they got their hands on it.
Well, I wouldn't lie. I heard about this and saw some of the names involved, and some of these nudes have been circulating for a long while.
Really?
Yeah, as I said, entertainers and so on, people who you know of them, you have seen
Right.
leaked photos of them already. I mean, these things circulate on the mobile networks, on the social networks, on different platforms, whether you into this thing or not. Once you connected and people sending things, you just end up seeing things, and I have seen these things already. So I find that the news has also made it a bit into this big hacking case, which may be the case for some of the girls,
For some of the
but
photos.
some of the
Certainly
people would
not
have
all.
just been the victims of relationships gone bad, in a sense, or
Right,
like
right.
carelessness with their intellectual property, as you might want to call it, lending people their phone, and people see that and start to share it, and
That's true. That could happen.
you lend somebody your laptop, you have something sensitive on it, they copy whatever they see because you didn't realize they'd find it, and then they start to show people. And I mean, ever since phones have gotten cameras, we have had the advent of this thing happening, right?
There you
But
go.
the main thing here is that whether it's been hacked, whether it's been a case of carelessness, whether it has been a relationship gone wrong and people doing it to get back at people, the issue here is that of privacy, right?
Yeah, I think you're right.
So,
right.
what is, this thing
Privacy.
of privacy? So, privacy, I mean, a definition of privacy is that privacy is the ability of an individual or group to seclude themselves or information about themselves and thereby express themselves selectively. The boundaries and content of what is considered private differ among cultures and individuals, but share common themes, right? Now, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, right, which is put together by the United Nations, right? The UN, they have the Declaration of Human Rights. We are all humans, and no matter where you live in the world, being a human being, there's a certain amount of rights that you should be awarded. Right? Article 12 of this declaration says no one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home or correspondence, nor to attacks upon his honor and reputation. Everyone has the right to the protection of the law against such interference or attacks. So in this case of these girls, this is an attack on their character and their reputation, because a lot of people are saying, well, if you are known to be on this list, people might watch you the same when you go for a job interview, that kind of thing.
Course, of course.
I mean, it is a possibility. It is a possibility. What do you think,
Very
Taurean?
true. Very true. It probably is happening already. I know a lot of the ladies, not a lot of ladies. One lady, they are trying to be anonymous. She did an interview. I want to say it was with the Express, or CNC3, and it was anonymous. So this is a concern, as you say, people finding out who they are, how it affects them. I know one family, reading the articles, they said this was a psychological torture almost. It was too much on the family to find out that their daughter was not involved, but was part of these photos that were leaked. The mom was like, it's devastating. So I don't know what the fallout will be fully, but certainly there are serious consequences.
Well, funny enough, recently we had a big topic in the news as well, which is that of the SSA, right? And this deals with privacy as well.
that possibly is going to be violating some of our rights as Trinbagonians. I
Well-
know Alwari said that privacy is not an enshrined right. Am I correct in what I heard?
Well, the SSA, Strategic Services Agency Amendment Bill, is one that seeks to widen the scope of responsibility that the SSA established by Act Number 24 of 1995, right? It is currently authorized to police only drug-related offenses. The amendment seeks to extend the agency's mandate to operate in relation to serious crimes. Now, he did come out and say that, which I find was wrong. Now, I understand the need to get into people's confidential information when they may be doing things that are illegal.
Criminal
But-
activities. Yeah.
To come out and say that privacy is not an enshrined right, which may be the case if you look at things from a
Security,
biased
national
technical
security
perspective, right? The thing is that privacy, as I mentioned earlier, is a human right. We have bathrooms with male and female symbols for a reason. I mean, people need privacy
There
for
you
certain
go.
reasons. People don't, you don't have a toilet in the middle of the open.
In the
right?
open.
If I mean, privacy.
But not even that is like
It's
that
a
SSA
basic
bill
thing.
want to look at people email and look at people phone and thing.
Yeah, that's looking from a basic point of view now. We go from the basic thing of you as an individual. We have so much things in our culture that we need to keep private, and now in an age of technology, we have so much more things that we are dependent now that are documented, because once we
That's
put
true.
something on a server, so to say,
Right.
somebody else has access to it, you know. Um, yeah, so it's a very tricky thing when you're talking about privacy itself and what is the
Right. Is
real
can
expectation of
anything be private
privacy
in this day and
in
age?
a time like this.
Can anything be private in this day and age?
Yeah. Well,
As you say,
again, it's
as
what
long as you
mediums you're
download
using.
it on a server, it there anybody could get it. The big hack with all these celebrities last year or whenever, it was on Apple servers.
Yeah, all their nudes again,
All
wasn't
the
it?
news again, nudes. So is there even, can we have privacy at this day and age of technology? And
Well, if you're going to put those things onto servers, onto devices that are connected to the internet, you are putting yourself at risk. Anything you put, whether it be confidential information, you know, your your nudes, your you know, all these little things that we may store, thinking that you don't want people to see the
safe,
bank
right?
information, that kind of thing. These things could, be abused.
Not only, now that I'm thinking about it here now, not only on a server, thinking about this case with this cricketer Lendl Simmons.
Right.
I think his outside relation, the woman he was in a relationship with outside of his
Theories
marriage,
how?
she sent him some nude pictures on his phone, and then he distributed that, and he was actually taken to court and he lost. I think he was ordered to pay, I want to say $150,000
Right. Now,
$100 in damages to
what was
Therese.
the issue there, right, was breach of confidence. Okay? So, although it is not a breach of privacy per se, it's a breach of confidence. But what is the
I think
whole.
it's privacy though.
But yes, yeah, so the jargon is breach of confidence. But what it comes down to is that the information must have had the necessary quality of confidence that it is something that cannot be public property or public knowledge. The reason
Yeah,
why you need confidence is because it cannot be public knowledge, because it's a
right.
personal thing and that's a private thing, right?
Of course.
And he abused that person's expectation
Of
with
privacy.
her confidential information.
There you go.
And look at how much people we are hearing about with this thing of nude photos. So, what is the whole thing with this nude photo story, and why is this culture of sending nudes so prevalent, and why it is that it will be looked down upon? Because as I said earlier, a girl parents were saying they couldn't come to terms with what is going on here and how their daughter could be part of this, as if the daughter is a person involved in some kind of porn ring, when all the
I
girl
guess.
really did was take some photos of her naked body to probably send to somebody who she wants to share her confidential information with,
Oh my God, no, how you put that so? But I think it's just times are changing. Times are changing. It's just a different time with the advent of phones, as you say. Not only just phones, but
Camera
phones with
phones
cameras,
and smartphones and the internet
smartphones, everything
ready.
connected
Yeah.
to the internet. People could now take relationships to a whole new level. And now with people traveling all over the place, or people in relationships say that parents or families wouldn't be approving of to be
True.
intimate with that person.
You see,
You gotta send them a little something.
in the last 20 years and the last 10 years specifically, the world has gone through a big change. We have
course.
become so locked in to what interconnectivity does for us through cell phones, the internet, laptops, mobile
Tablets,
apps,
everything.
social networks. These things weren't existing before. There was a telephone. Telephone did a lot of bridging of gaps for sure, right?
Right.
But now with the advent of instant messaging, and the written word used to have to be put in a letter and mailed. Now the written word goes from me to you in the blink of an eye. And the written word is something too that one can stop and reflect on, fix, edit. It's not
Right.
like the spoken word, which is once it's said, it can't be
It's out there.
undone.
You can't put your
You
words
know,
back in your mouth.
you could take your time and you could write a sentence and you could fix and you could think how this song and you could erase, you could start it over and then you could send it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And now people are on a whole different level of how they communicate, and it's all about a fast-paced environment as well. And I mean, the world has changed, and we are going into a whole other direction now with how we interact with each other as human beings and what is normal. You know, before it was unheard of for a boy and a girl who, are just, they're not committed to each other or anything in a formal way. You couldn't just be holding their hand and walking down the road in Trinidad.
Right. Right.
You know, let's get our parents' generation. You know, you just be holding girl hand and think who is just your friend. And
And
now
then-
today, I mean, people do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want. And now little people who don't even have a sense of their identity yet are making videos to send to their interested parties and all kind of thing. It's a whole different time with how sexuality itself is expressed.
Is
And
expressed,
there
yeah.
needs to be a great deal of consideration into how far it has changed, because it has its negative effects. It's having a lot of negative effects on the youths, But at the same time, we cannot deny the sexual nature of the human being, especially the adult, right?
Right.
And
right.
we
right.
cannot sit down here.
Not just the adult, the sexual curiosity
yeah.
of younger individuals.
Yeah. But like, okay, if a child is 13, 14, right? And that is when you're most curious, right?
Of course.
And they engage in some kind of online sexual activity with another child or whatever it be, right? It is wrong in a sense, because it is not becoming of that child to be focusing on that, because as we talked about in our last episode with Beauty and the Beast dealing with child marriages, we were both in agreement that behind a certain age, right, before a certain age,
Right.
you shouldn't be indulging in certain activities as other people of, more mature age are,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So, with that being said, I don't see nudes and taking nudes as something that you should chastise somebody for, right? Really and truly.
Because that is what it is now.
Because that is what's going on now, right? It is like, some parents allow their children to have boyfriend and girlfriend. Other parents do what their children have a boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, you could be in Form 4 and they could have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and that's quite fine with your parents. Other parents will not allow that. It's commonplace once the family situation allows for it. No.
Right.
This thing with nudes now, that's a whole different thing, because nobody gonna want anybody young doing that. So there were children in these lists, and I mean, can it be said that they are deviant? I don't know. I don't think
No,
so.
I
I
don't
just think
think
that's how they need to take a little more. What's the word? Take stock of the world around them and how far these photos could go, how much it could impact their future, and for the adults, they need to take stock of how people
Times
are
have
very
changed.
times have changed. People are very, very vindictive out here. You can't be sending somebody something that you would want them to have forever. If you sending somebody something about your body and you're not sure this person gonna be in your life forever, right? What's the sense of sending it in the first place? You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
Put in such a level of high trust. It's a bit of a sticky situation. And we need to take a good look at our culture today and really see how much of this is actually a result of the desensitization or the breakdown in certain fabric of how we deal with each other. I don't know.
Right. Fair enough. I could agree with that. Times have changed. The older heads kind of need to realize that if it's maybe not giving your children cell phones at this age or at a young age, or monitoring usage as much as possible, what your children doing online or with their smart devices. But that is the culture now. Sending nude pics, suggestive pics, pics in underwear, pics without clothes. That is the culture now, and I think times have changed, as you said. Times have
And
changed.
it's a lot of pressure too on, I would say, on females to aspire towards a standard of sexuality, because they are bombarded with images. We as males as well, we are bombarded with images of many times females in very sexually charged positions and clothing
That is
and
the
all this
truth.
different thing now.
That is the truth.
And as a woman and a girl coming up in today's world and seeing all these images, you measure yourself by them. And we live on these screens. We live our lives through the screens, we spend so much time looking at images on the screen. So there's nothing more powerful than for a girl to probably see herself in the same vein as she sees the people she watching whole day, in their little Victoria's Secret spread and thing. If she could match that for 1 second and take a good picture with a good filter and whatever and send it to somebody and, feel as if for that moment she has measured up to that standard of beauty, because that is what they know the boys watching whole day now.
Right. Well, I could attest to that, because when you go in the mall up here, and I should have mentioned this is the last podcast, you just have these Victoria's Secret stores, and they just have these ladies in underwear pose up in the biggest photo you'd ever see. And I only find out recently that some of these girls is like 18, 17.
Yeah, some of them are, yeah.
And it's like, wow, this is a young child in an underwear that I am like just walking past right now. What the hell is that? In coming back to, as you're saying, like, it's part of the culture. Like, now, Cosmopolitan. Now, we're not saying Cosmopolitan is the most, like, legit source of information.
No, but Cosmopolitan is a big magazine. I read Cosmo. I read Cosmo. Cosmo not here since yesterday. Cosmo here a long time.
Ever since. And this is a big article in Cosmo that everybody's seeing. Sending nudes can actually help your relationship, according to this study. So, and that study is... Sorry, let me read the first 2 lines to give you an idea. The old-fashioned love letter is officially dead. According to CNN, a new study found that sending nudes or sexy texts is a new way to keep the spark alive in your relationship.
Well, right. That is exactly it. And that is it, Torian. Long time, with how we used to have to write letters and that kind of thing, and writing was actually, how we communicated a lot of the time with people. And, and the climate would paint for such, you write a real beautiful Shakespearean sonnet sounding kind of thing, and that vibes. But now, the culture is different, and sexting, right? Typing something sexy to somebody, right? Sending them a sexy picture. That is how it does work now. I mean, that is just how it is.
That is just how it is. Facts of life in this day and age.
So let's see what the public had to say about this. Because Trinis have a pong and a crunk to say about everything. And they're always on some moral high ground. So I want to hear what the public had to say about this.
So, this is all from Facebook. I didn't check on Twitter, but just a few things. This is one lady. Please don't take what I'm about to say as me condoning what these men did. What they did was terrible, and I am totally against it, especially as a woman. That being said, I don't think that it should affect people's opinion of them as doctors, because I suppose there was some thing saying
Is doctors sharing it?
Yeah, doctors sharing it.
Well, everybody's sharing it. But anyhow, of course, pinpoint doctors, because that's what we love to do. Pinpoint people and just say, look at them. How they could do this? Anyhow.
And because it was alleged to be like from MedSci and all that kind of thing. So continuing, as a doctor, you take an oath. So when information is divulged to you, you are not allowed to disseminate that back to anyone else unless it has to do with your care. Example, to a nurse or another doctor you are referring to. I think these are 2 separate matters and should not be mixed. The ladies who sent these pictures were not patients. Therefore, these men were acting in their capacity as men. So yes, they are douches for doing it, but that doesn't make them any less of a doctor.
Right.
Now, unrelated to totally separate posts, another lady, listen up, Trinidad and Tobago, stop slut shaming anyone about leaked nude photos. And she goes on to list some reasons. Number 1, those pictures were put up without permission. 2, none of us have any context regarding if those photos were stolen from persons' phones, if they were hacked, or if they were snapped without consent. 3, imagine having people staring at your naked photos without your consent. 4, they did not ask for it. 5, get on board for legislation to protect persons who are victims.
Right. So, good stuff.
Yeah, that was bad. Last one from a fella, because we couldn't leave the fella out. He put up this status. This post is intended for those of us who either live or follow current events in Trinidad and Tobago. Apparently, there have been leaked photos of nude women locally. I am a highly heterosexual male, yet I have no interest in seeing these pictures. I have spoken to 3 other males, none of who have seen them, and who also share my disinterest. My reason lies in the fact that I prefer real-life women to digital. And if I had to gape at a picture, there are always those of Michelle Lewin and the like, which I'm almost sure can't be matched locally. However, I have noticed women, both young and old, who are hankering for glimpses and information about the aforementioned nude subjects. I find this very ironic. Can someone shed some light? So somebody respond, lol, why they want to see other women? They want to see who they know and who they hate. As you know, women hate one another, so what better chance to drag down the bitch they hate than this? And the original poster responded, though that may have a lot of credibility, it has to be more than that. My own mother is curious. Weird. So yeah, we get a wide range of reactions from different people, I guess different walks of life. It was interesting, the female perspective, and obviously to get the male perspective. In addition to that gentleman's point, a lot of fellas were like, is the lady's fault and all them kind of thing, as you might expect. So I guess the next question is, could something like this be prevented? What do you think?
What exactly?
I guess nude pictures being hacked, I guess, and being exposed for the world. Could something like that be prevented? Could we do anything?
Well, as is the case with things like AIDS, what is the best way to not get AIDS?
Wear protection.
That's not the best way.
Abstinence.
Right. No, it may be unrealistic, but obviously abstinence would be the sure way to not get fucking... Oh, sorry.
I don't see.
To not get AIDS, right? Yeah.
Well, fair enough.
So, in the case of this, if we have people who don't want people to see their naked images, don't share it with anybody, don't give it to anybody.
Don't take none.
Don't take out any, don't put it on your phone,
But
don't have anything connected to the internet that has your body exposed. No, I'm not saying that I think people should do that, because I do think it's practical. As we said earlier.
Right, as we said earlier.
We
that is the way it
are
is
living in
now.
a time where this is what happens, this is what we want to do. Right? But the sure way to not have it leaked is to not do it. Otherwise,
For sure.
I would say just exercise a lot of caution as to who you are dealing with, who you're lending your phone to, who you're sharing your nudes with, who you're allowing to use your laptop, how you go about keeping things, if you're going to store them, if you're going to leave them on your phone. Because if you're leaving these things on your phone lost, right? And somebody gets into your phone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like things like that now, exercising caution when it comes to these things.
Well, one approach you could take is like in Canada here. So I can't say in Canada. Well, okay. So Canada is divided into provinces, and in the province where I is,
Like Victoria and thing.
yeah, and BC and Vancouver, and I must be mixing it up.
Well, what is Victoria? A county?
Must be.
No, what is
No, Victoria is
District.
a plenty a tongue. There are plenty tongues in Victoria here. So
I talking about Victoria here, boy.
Victoria is a county.
No, what is called it, boy? The District of Victoria. But it's our name for
Bro,
it.
this is not Know Your Country tour. This is
But
Dobrich.
what it is again? It
But
have
we embarrassing ourselves right now. No?
no, it's our wood right now. Why that's slipping right now? It's not the parish.
It must
Can
be
you continue
Borough,
to come to
Borough
me
of
to come to
Victoria. Me,
the
you know.
the borough?
It's not Borough. It's not Borough. Wait, we really going off on a tangent here.
Nah, but go back to what you're saying. The county.
It's County of Victoria.
Yeah, it's a county.
There you go.
I think I said that earlier, but I wasn't
Yeah, I
sure.
think you did.
Yeah.
I'll give you that
Yeah.
one. But yeah, there are different provinces, and in Ontario, they recently revamped the school curriculum, and a big change was sexual education, and we had a lot of protests against this, against teachers talking about sex in schools. So in preparation for this, I came across the basically curriculum for sex education in Ontario that students would be taught in schools and what the focus was. And I found it interesting that a lot of the things they're teaching in the schools, or they want to start teaching in schools, deals with this change in technology and how things are and how to deal with people. For grade 9, what I'm going to read is for grade 9 and grade 11, which is ages 14 to 17. So for grade 9s, they're going to talk about preventing pregnancy and STIs, factors affecting gender identity and sexual orientation, relationship skills and strategies, and thinking ahead about sexual health, consent, and personal limits, which I think ties in well with nude photos and who you're sending it to and things like that.
Right.
In grade 10, which is 15 to 16-year-olds, they're teaching you about decision making, communication, healthy sexuality, teaching you about relationships, the effects on self and the effects on others. As you say, if you take nude photos, what's the consequences of them kind of thing, right? And grade 11, which is 16 to 17, they're going to teach skills and strategies for evolving relationships, maintaining health and well-being when independent, bias and stereotyping in media portrayal of relationships, and identifying personal aptitudes and interests, and developing life plans. So at least Ontario has taken an approach to educate young people on this whole sexting and nude photographs and what is the consequences of taking pictures such as these, which I find is a good approach. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's definitely a good approach because when you deal with these things in the education system, it reinforces and helps build what the students may not be getting from their parents or may not be getting from their elders outside. And a lot of times we depend on the school system to teach them a lot of things. And if they can learn these things through school, yeah. I mean, we have something similar in Trinidad called HFLE that they have made it compulsory into the secondary schools. All secondary schools have HFLE as a subject, which is health and family life education. And what that deals with is things similar to this, about health, well-being, dealing with pressure, peer pressure, sex. All these kind of things are dealt with in HFLE. Probably not to the extent to which you would have had it in the curriculum in Ontario, but we definitely have a step towards that direction too here. But as with everything in Trinidad, it has a lot to be desired still as to how they are delivering this curriculum and the teachers that they are assigning to deliver this curriculum of health and family life education.
Right. Okay. So we have our first for Dobricks. We have our first female guest on the show. We thought it would be appropriate to have the perspective of a female
Definitely.
on sending the nudes and things like that. Welcome to the show, Rose. How are you
Hi,
today?
Rose.
Hi, good night.
Is night?
Good night. Yeah, it's night.
Okay. So as you might expect, some of the questions we ask could be a bit revealing to the individual, so we decided to keep things anonymous. So we're going with the name Rose for today. So, Rose,
Well, that's not anonymous Taurean. That's just a pseudonym. But yeah.
Well, this is protecting her identity.
Anonymous
So
means you don't have a name. Come. Get with the program.
dog. You're killing me right now. What, Rose, question for you now. What was your initial thoughts when the whole nude scandal broke out?
I would say my initial thoughts were probably waiting to see what the backlash would be like, from the perspective of a woman, and the backlash on these women, or toward these women, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, the
you have to
result it will have
expect it.
on their life.
Right, so it just seemed like the general trend is, regardless of what the situation is, it could be rape, it could be anything, and it always seemed like both men and women will turn the attention towards the actions of the woman in the situation. So
Right.
very few comments were made, as far as I could see, on the part of the perpetrators in the situation, which I consider to be the men who leaked these photos, and not
Right.
enough attention on, okay, well, what are the rights of these women? What were the circumstances? Everything was, well, woman stupid, and all these, you had to be stupid in this today's day and age to
misogynistic
send
kinda
nude
talk.
pictures. So that was
No,
my
so
initial.
you would say that that okay, looking at the photos, right?
Mm-hmm.
The photos being leaked is the problem, right?
Right.
Do you think the photos are a problem? Taking all those kind of photos.
It's kind of difficult to say whether taking photos, nude photos, whatever kind of photos, private photos is a problem.
Yeah.
Because, like I am from that generation where I was able to see all this technology unfold, fortunately and unfortunately. And I remember when I had my first cell phone. I remember when I had my first camera phone, and it was a big deal. People were taking pictures of any and everything.
Yes.
And the reality of the situation is, the generation that's coming up today, they're even more exposed than we were exposed back in them days.
Much
And that is
more.
what people doing. The culture now is a culture of taking pictures. We have Instagram, Snapchat, all this.
Yeah, it's
all
a
of this.
visual thing. It's a visual.
It's a visual thing. This is how this generation now communicates with one another. They do it visually. No
I
more need for
agree with you
sending
totally.
cryptic words to each other. You just send a picture and that is that.
Cut to the chase. Don't bore us. Get to the chorus. Now, if that is the case with the photo itself, the photo being leaked, whose fault is that? The person, the perpetrator, as I said, the male.
I would think so, yes. If I would assume that if someone says something to me in private, it may not show me something or give me something. If someone says something to me in confidence, and we have an understanding, whether it is verbal or not, that this was said in confidence and isn't for your ears or eyes only,
Right.
and you leak that information, that is your fault, not the fault of the person who confided in you.
Right.
So, have you ever sent nudes?
Um,
$90 million question, day.
A simple yes or no.
So
would
to
do.
be completely honest, yes, definitely.
You have.
Right.
Now, are you worried that these nudes?
I would
will
have
ever
sent
get
it,
out?
but all that can't fit on the screen now, boy. I never sent because I
You
can't
never
fit on the
sent it?
screen.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's too much to
Oh my
upload
God.
now, boy.
File too big, dog.
Yeah. You gotta free up space. You gotta have a Brexit or something.
Oh my God.
Yes, Rose. So, so you sent nudes, yes, you see. But are you ever worried that anybody find your nudes? Were they ever a threat of being found or put out there, I suppose?
So yes, I did send nudes. And I was never worried per se of the people who I send them to leaking them. To tell you the honest truth, I believed at the time, and I kind of still believe now, the people who I send them to, I trusted them enough to do so, even though I was much younger than I am now, and the people
Right.
who I sent them to was much younger. But I was in a situation, I would say maybe twice so far in my lifetime, where I have had phones stolen.
Right.
And I was afraid of the phone being unlocked and the information being leaked from the phone. And as I said, I am of that generation where I was one of the first few people to get phones back in those days. So it wasn't
Right.
hard to unlock a phone.
Right.
It was a simple pong sign, 4 digits pong sign, and any phone
Yeah.
could have get unlocked back in them days.
Right.
So it was a little bit scary, but
Did you have anything sensitive on those phones? Like that
yes,
could,
yes, I had the
right.
pictures on the phone. I had pictures that were sent to me on that phone.
Right.
Fortunately, at that time, or I shouldn't say fortunately, but at that time there were photos being leaked from other people.
But you weren't involved, and you
I
are
wasn't
happy for
involved,
that,
but I
obviously.
actually, even when I took photos and sent photos, I was wary of other people's photos being leaked, and I never took photos where my face could. So even if it leaked by mistake, nobody could see my face.
Right, so you're being careful there too. As the next
I
thing I
was
was talking
being
about
careful. Yeah.
So-
earlier, you have to be careful if you're going to do these things, because I mean, if it is that a body could suffice, the body pick of the body, don't include the face, because
Right.
that way you're
Now,
incriminating
that being
yourself.
said, I will admit, and I would say this just for full disclosure, as much as I am saying I was young, I was still past the age of some of these girls who send photos now. So it's
Right.
not like I was no bright spark, and not like I sit down and was logistic about everything. It was just simple. I was more mature about the situation when I had that technology in my hands and was able to think about the consequences. I do firmly believe that some of these
Right.
younger girls, they just don't fully understand the consequences. So that they in that situation.
I understand.
So, as you say, you didn't show your face or anything. So, could you put some blame on the woman for that? For
ones
being
who-
some people come out and say
Neglectful, I would say.
they were stupid to show their face and all them kind of thing. What you would
Listen,
say to people?
The thing is, if you're going to start putting blame on people when they're in a situation that is clearly out of their control, I know some people would say that it wasn't their control because they took the pictures in the first place. Honestly, it is out of their control. They cannot control whether somebody else take the picture and put it up online. So really and truly, you can't say blame these women for taking pictures. You don't blame somebody. You can't blame somebody after you in a relationship and somebody tells somebody else your personal business, whether it is something you're doing in the bedroom, the way you just turn your pot, whatever it is. You cannot blame somebody for that. You're in a relationship. You're making calculated decisions based on the fact that you're with somebody who you love and trust.
True.
And that is what the situation is. Even if it's girls sending pictures to people who they don't love and trust, they send it with a certain level of confidentiality, I am assuming. And the people clearly just not upholding that confidentiality as well.
Right.
So you
Right.
cannot blame people.
Right.
You
Yeah,
can't
I
blame a
totally
man.
agree.
I hate to hear that when people, you blame somebody, or you get robbed. What you doing with that in the first place? That is stupid.
yeah. I read.
You can blame
I
a
don't
man
like
for
that.
you blame a man for driving on Sando 1 o'clock in the morning, and you get hold up and you tell him where you driving on Sando for, where you build the road for. So in that kind of way, it's like
Yeah,
if
I
you're gonna start,
understand. Yeah.
if you're
You
gonna
could always counteract that, because the problem there in that situation is that he was robbed because of the crime and because of the lack of law enforcement and so on.
Exactly.
You can't tell the man, well, you shouldn't have read it in the first place. Ding, 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 ding.
Exactly,
That's old people talk, I mean, that's old people talk.
right.
Men take out, the proverbial dick pic. Men take out things that nude photos and thing. I mean, we'll tend to focus on females more when it comes to the body and being sexual and taking out pictures and meeting the standard. But I mean, now men are also using the camera to
Really
express
good.
their sexuality. I mean, the level of male selfies is highly alarming. But the thing is, how come we don't really have an like a issue, or we have a scenario or phenomenon or a case where men nudes leaked and man in trouble and thing? Although there have been like I think there was a teacher who sent some picture in Trinidad itself.
What?
Right.
A fella, a few years ago, it had a fella who,
Your name Cutter?
well, the talk is he sent the huh?
Your name Cutter?
No, that's not the guy. That's not the guy. But I think it's a fella sent pictures to a student. I don't know if it's his student or if it's a student and he's just a man or what. But anyhow, I remember
Some pictures get
it had
sent.
pictures of her man, and you're seeing the pictures passing around, but they had blew off the boy now.
The
They had
penis.
yeah. The penis. Okay, the penis. Right? They blew it off, but you see this homeboy, any little umbro, whatever. And and you see the John, well, the blurry John, and it's like, wait, boy, this man, yeah, he didn't think. But that's one off, and that's not something you anybody else remembers. I just remember because that's like hard luck this whole year. But
We don't see
yeah,
the proliferation of
Rose.
male news.
Tell me, do you think that there's a reason why this same thing is not happening to men? Like,
That is a
that's a deep question, eh?
that is a very deep question. I don't think
Yeah.
it have any single answer for that question.
No, it wouldn't.
And honestly, to answer that question, well, not like any of the answers I give so far will sit well with many people in general, and to be able to tell you the truth.
That's okay. No worries.
But I would have to look at it from a female perspective solely in this sense, and I would have to say that the intensity was just never there. Men don't experience the same criticism. Women are, we have stereotypes that affect us positively, and we have stereotypes that affect us negatively. A lot of men, from my experience, they would say that women supposed to be more level-headed. They prize women are mothers, nurturers, whatever, and they put
Right,
these-
women always have to seem to meet this society standard.
Exactly.
It's basically the whole thing how and it's also a gender role thing because
It
like
is a
it's the
gender
same
role
thing
thing.
like how a man could have like, okay, in Trinidad, a man have a few girl, yes.
That's right.
Woman have a few man, slut, ho,
She's a skettle,
baddest,
whatever it is.
skettle,
And
you know?
I would say, I kind of, in answering that question, I think I might answer a couple of the questions you asked before, in that women have this expectation to please the man. If you're not giving your man something, well, what you expect? He will get it from somewhere else. And
Right, right.
young girls have this pressure to live up to these standards that
Yeah.
boys and men, and it's not like, I don't believe that men do these things intentionally to harm women or to make a bad situation worse per se. They just don't know what they're doing. In the same way, girls, when they do certain things, they don't
Sometimes.
know what they're doing to themselves.
Yeah.
So I would.
Is real psychology at play, eh?
It is, definitely is, and I think that is a problem that there is no one top solution for, and
Yeah,
it stems
definitely.
from a much deeper place. So
And I mean,
men, and I also think as well, men are a lot more confident when it comes to certain things. So a man send a picture, everybody see it. There's nobody.
yeah,
who
that
want to
next
see
thing too.
that?
That's the next thing too.
Let me just. Girls do not want to see pictures of anybody dick. Girls don't want to see dick pics. So in a kind of way, it's like, well, who da benefiting exactly, or who da shaming exactly? Nobody. We didn't want it in the first place. Men want the pictures of the girls.
We know, yeah, so it's more, so in other words, getting the dick pic is more like a novelty to say, well, he went to the heights to send that, but me really care now.
Yeah, it's like, okay, all right, that's nice. Thanks very much for sending that. I don't know what I'm doing for me
Well, they're
right now,
brutal
seeing
too,
that in a picture.
They're brutal. Rose, yeah, easy. But
She
Rose,
easy.
that's all the questions I have for you. Terry, you have any other questions
Nah,
for
I
Rose?
think that's it. I think Rose makes your point. Hey,
Yeah, Rose,
well
thanks
said.
for your insight. I believe it was well received by our listenership, and I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I respect your opinions, and I think we need more thinkers like Rose out here as well, because she's on point. So thanks, Rose.
All right,
Thank you very much,
thank you for
Rose.
having me, boys.
all right. Well,
So Torian,
yeah, doggy.
in closing, right? We hear from Rose.
Hear from Rose.
We hear from the bros, right? I don't know who else knows,
Who else?
but
Dog.
I mean, who fault it is, dog? Who's the victim in this circumstance? What really going on with this thing with this news? Who's the victim?
For me-
Is the victim the young generation because of
Boy.
the values that the old generation have placed on them and they're rebelling, or is it the subliminal messaging from advertising in our heads, or
Boy.
is it the sexuality in movies, or who is the real victim here? Who is the real person who at fault?
Dog, you take it to hides there. The women are the victims in
Right.
terms of, I believe nobody, regardless of the situation, should have sent their news or hacked their computer just to post it up. So the women are the victim.
Right.
I don't. Outside of that, I think it is a logical, or not, maybe not a logical, but we have moved. Intimacy has moved to the device in this day and age. So it is inevitable pictures will be sent.
Right.
No, I don't think any older head should vex that. Oh, why they doing this? Well, of course they ain't good. You wouldn't send a nude pic because you born in a different time. But in this day and age, that is the norm. And you had to get used to that. Right. That's just how it is. So, yeah, I ain't think you could, like, the slut shaming and all that. Nah, you can't be doing that. Whoever leaked the photos, whoever hacked, them is the people to blame. In this case, some fellas.
Can boys ever be a victim of this kind of thing, you think? Can a man be a victim?
Well, Rose, I think she cleared that up for we. Girls don't care. They don't care. They don't care to see pic. She make a big statement.
But my soldier, who's the teacher, obviously he looked real bad. He lost his work.
He lost his work for sure.
Right?
But like
so
as you say, though,
you could be a victim according to the situation. But if it's just like, you have nothing to lose and people see you naked and you just look like a man naked, it's more like, maybe I have some tool.
Oh, you catch kicks. Look what happened to that man from oh my gosh.
Benjai?
No, not Benjai. The PNM man.
Oh,
he get catch.
Hasim, whatever his name.
And what he do? He retire.
He
resign.
Yeah. He had to resign, yeah.
But I bet you in 2 years.
And I hear, it was a very small problem too now. But, it wasn't really a big problem. But
you see? So that answered the question right there. At least for me. What do you think? Who's the victims? Any victims?
I would say that the women are the victims, yeah, and the fellas who so bad mind and can, face reality. Your girl don't want you no more. Move on, find the next one.
Move on, and
find the next girl. Move on, horse. I mean, yes, relationships are tough. Things go wrong, and it makes you do dotish things, and I understand that, fellas.
We all been there.
But move on, soldier. Soldier, what you doing, soldier? Move on, man. Come on, man. Leave the girl alone, horse. The girl not on you no more. That's all. You had to go and destroy she life and go and become this friggin' what do you call it? You ever see friggin' Mega Man enemy? Dr. Willie. You behind the computer just spreading thing. Use Dr. Willie. Come now, man. Take your time now.
Dog. Well, I hear some men get hold by the police. Even if they get arrested, I think it's for questioning. So.
Well, and they want to send picture of a young girl who not even out of secondary school naked.
Dog.
Serve them right.
There you go. Well, dog, I think that's it for today,
Yeah, I mean, it was a topic that should have been touched on because it was, in Trinidad, this is a big topic. Nudes,
dog.
Ting. Yeah. But you know what I think will happen after this? Just like with everything, there's going to be a spike in the level of nudes. You're going to have more. Now people are going to say, wait up, people, let's do this.
Yeah. Or you going to see Cutter?
I don't know. I think actually, I think a lot of, really and truly, I think a lot of people will think twice now.
Yeah. You feel so?
About how they send it.
How they send it and they
Yeah, for sure. In Trinidad, for sure. Yeah.
You should have asked Rose if she would have think twice or what.
But yeah, well, Rose different. Rose on big now.
She on our next level, then?
Yeah, she is on next level. Rose different.
Well,
but the girls not stupid. To all the girls out there who entangled in this business, what I would tell all you? Small thing.
Everything will
brush
pass.
It off. Don't study it.
This too shall pass.
At the end of the day, people like me out here, we ain't judging you. We have done our share of stupidness too as individuals. Everybody makes mistakes because at the end of the day, we don't think it's anything wrong with what you did, but probably in the future we could handle things better as people and try and get people you could really trust.
There you go. Plain and simple. Well, dog. Historian from Toronto.
And Cutter in the hot Rillo.
Real hot here too, boy. Signing off. We leave. Wait, who?
It's real hot day, ain't? It's real hot day, ain't?
Dog. Today was like 29 feels like 35 or something, so dog. Heat.
Dog, it have mosquito here too. Take your time. Hey, DC, nah? I'll run a little hard
Who
thing
we
for them
playing
today.
today?
The one and only
Ah,
Insert
boy.
Coin, and this is their song called The Jumper.
Alright, folks, take it in.
Mhm.
We out.
Bless.
It's time.